You're listening to the HUD Podcast, the official podcast for the Hudsonian newspaper at Hudson Valley Community College. An HVCC podcast for the students, by the students. Your news now. Get ready to enter the HUD.
All right. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the HUD, the official podcast for the Hudsonian newspaper at Hudson Valley Community College. I'm Samantha Simmons, a staff writer for the Hudsonian. Today I have Sarah Simmons joining me. She's in the Mortuary Science program here at HVCC. Hudson Valley is one of the only programs really in New York State that has Mortuary Science. I think there's one other community college, maybe like Herkimer or something that has it, but not really many other places around here. So I just want to thank you for joining us. And
thank you.
So I know that this is a very exclusive program here at Hudson Valley, and not many students get accepted. It's kind of like the nursing and the dental program here. What are some of the requirements that students have to meet in order to get on in this program?
Well, you have to have a B average in a chemistry class before you can get in the program. And that's pretty much about it.
How many kids are in your class? Is there like a lot? Do you have do you have kids that can take some of your classes and some can't?
No. You can only move forward through the program. You have to take certain classes to move up to the next step. There's only about 20 of us that are accepted each year. So it's quite small and it stays pretty small. And yeah.
Do you have a lot of kids, so now this is your second year at Hudson Valley. Do you have a lot of kids that don't stay with the program? They come in and after a month or two, they're like, yeah, this really isn't it for me. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, we have a lot of kids that actually, they could be in the program for almost the full 2 years and then decide that they don't want to do it anymore. So we have a lot of kids who end up dropping, especially with the strict requirements that you have to have maintaining all of your classes.
So what are these strict requirements that you're talking about?
You have to have a B average in every single class that you take in the college, whether it's a more science specific class or it's just accounting or a business communications class or even a Microsoft class. You have to have a B in.
Do they have a reasoning on why you have to take classes outside of your specific major? So I know most majors you have to take other gen eds. Are those gen eds for that program?
Yeah, those are basically the gen eds that they require for the program.
Okay, all right. What do your classes consist of? So what take me through a day of Mort Science classes?
Day in Mort Science classes, personally, for me, most of it's all online now, but we still have labs that we have to go to school for. So I have currently an embalming lab and a restorative art lab. And an embalming, we do embalmings in the morgue with bodies that we receive as medical donations, medical gifts from Albany Med. And we practice embalming on them. And for my restorative art, we typically we learn about different types of makeup, applications, how we would fix someone that comes in if they had a traumatic case. And we actually build wax heads of someone and cosmetize them to how they would actually look.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So do you guys have to do your own type of obviously you can't take a body home and embalm it, but can you do other projects outside of the class that are very more specific?
Not necessarily. We have our wax heads that we can do outside of class, but anything else we really can't do because we have to learn how to do it on the body. We learn how to suture and stuff. So I know some of us have suturing kits that we practice with, but other than that, there isn't really anything more science related that's not a part of the business.
What are these wax heads?
These wax heads we get a basic skull frame on a stand, and we all get chunks of wax, and we have to build them and figure out their facial features, their proportions, and build that to the person that we choose.
Okay. Does that like, is that like a whole like course, like a semester project, or is that something you have just like
Yeah,
the time?
that lasts a whole semester, and you usually start around the 6th week, and it takes almost until the end of the 16 weeks to build it.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, Earlier you said that you only had 2 professors in the whole program. Who are
Yep.
they?
Matthew Lansing and Lori Purcell. I only have 2. I believe there is one other, but I do not take any of his classes currently.
Do you know like what he teaches?
I don't off the top of my head.
No, that's okay. So take me through your experience in some of these embalming things. You know, that's like crazy. Most people, you know, don't want that job. So take me through. First of all, let's start. What made you want to embalm people, first of all?
Um, I befriended a funeral director, and I did an internship with him, and that was when I was getting my CNA, and we became really close friends, and I just fell in love with what he does.
What did you have to do there? So like what was like the real turning point for you to want to get like make this your major in college?
The major turning point I had was when I watched him prep a body in the viewing room where he was cosmetizing. He was just cosmetizing the face and perfecting how the hair looked and the makeup looked and the features looked and specific lighting variations that he tried. And one other part was definitely for some reason the flowers. Um, what
Like
I mean by that,
40%?
yeah,
Okay.
what I mean by that is he personally goes through and takes a picture of all of the cards that come on the flowers, as
Mhm.
well as the flowers, and puts them into a memory book that comes with the sign-in sheet that you sign when you go to a service. And I just found it such a beautiful touch that I just wanted to help people that had that same feeling towards making other people feel better in a time of need.
Oh, okay. That's so sweet. I didn't know that. Um, so do you guys have to do any like internships like outside of the program, like at Hudson Valley? So do you guys have to like work in a funeral home like right
Yep.
now?
No, not right now. So we take our national boards, and then, which is what we have to do to become a licensed funeral director at the end of our 2 years. And we have to take the national boards, pass the arts and the sciences, and then do a 1 year internship.
Okay. Um, do they pick who you have to do internships with, or is it completely up to you?
We have to go out and find who we do an internship with. They do advertise like on a bulletin board people that are looking for interns, but you can go choose whoever you want.
Oh, okay. So what is like your now that you're in the program, you know what you really can do. What is something that you really like love to do, like you look forward to going to do in school now?
Embalming. I look forward to going into the prep room and embalm a body, make sure it's taken care of, it's cleaned, it's preserved, it looks how it should look without the makeup.
Is there like certain like guidelines you have to follow to know like, you know, whether a dead body is a good dead body or a bad dead body?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a lot of it's based on the decomp and the time of death compared to when you get the body and how the body looks and the possible different diseases and everything that the body could have had. We don't know what they are, but you can definitely tell a good body versus a bad body through edema and pitting edema, stuff like that.
So do you guys is there like a lot of sciencey things like you know how like nurses, they have to know like a bunch of measurements, a bunch of like look for signs for things. Do you guys have to like keep an open mind out for things like that, or do you just do your job and wait
Oh
for the
yeah.
next body to roll through?
Oh no. Oh yeah, definitely. We definitely take care and pride in each body that we do. So it's not just another body to us.
Mhm.
It's our time and dedication. And I've been in the lab for up to 6 hours embalming a single body. Although we are just beginners, I definitely do take the time to, you're supposed to do a pre-embalming evaluation on the body so you can figure out what type of chemicals you need to use, how long you think you'll be in there, the different types of like humectants you'll need, which is just another chemical.
Okay, so where do you guys get these bodies? Do you have like a lot of them on hand, or is it just like one day, just like one at a time, they just roll through on a stretcher into the morgue?
They come from Albany Medical Center from their donation program. So when you donate your body to science, you can end up with us, or you can go to a surgeon, like practicing surgeons.
Mhm.
So they come and go, but we don't always have bodies available. So labs do get canceled when there aren't enough bodies, or when the bodies aren't salvageable in a way that I mean, like they're not safe for us as students to embalm.
What makes them not safe? Is it just like they're just like decomposed, they weren't stored the right way or something?
They possibly couldn't have been stored the right way. They have been deceased for too long. Stuff like that affects the learning process on how we can properly do it and learn how to do it.
So how long, so does Hudson Valley have a morgue like
Yep.
on campus, or do they have to transport it?
We have our own morgue on site, as well as a chapel and a funeral home.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So can you guys like hold a funeral there?
Yes, we can. We are actually a accredited funeral home.
Really?
Hmm.
No way. That's crazy. So like if you had like a relative die, you'd be like, "Hey, Professor so and so, can I have my funeral here?"
I mean, possibly. I'm not sure about the logistics of that and everything, but possibly. I know that they have done funerals for, and they have Professor Purcell and Professor Lansing have both, they've done funerals for um, college members and their family members
Okay. Like
through the
professors,
college.
students, or both?
I'm not sure about students, but like definitely professors, like families.
Okay. All right. So now that, COVID is a thing and everyone's life is ultimately changed, very drastically, how has that changed how you guys learn?
Oh, we have had a limited source of bodies due to this because of COVID testing and not knowing if they had COVID, and we can't come onto campus to do all of our labs. So a lot of us are stuck at the college for possibly up to an extra year
Oh, wow.
to complete the labs that we have to do and funerals that we have to do,
Mhm.
because we have to do, I believe it's 10 embalmings and 10 funerals. So a lot of us are stuck at the school to finish our labs, so that way we can take the national boards, because if you don't meet the requirement, you cannot take the national boards.
Oh, wow. So do you guys, because obviously, this isn't your fault that you are getting stuck here, an extra year, half a year, whatever it may be. Are you guys like going to get reimbursed for that? Or is there like some special way that you guys can work around that?
I believe that since we already pay for our labs now, the extended time period that we are here, we do not have to pay for the labs.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. That's good for you guys because, like I said, you guys didn't plan, for this to happen and you not to be able to do labs.
Hmm.
So tell me a little bit more about what you don't like about mortuary science, or what specific things you don't like about the program, or just things in general that you don't like about like what goes on in funeral homes, in morgues.
I do know that it is a very male-dominated industry, which is something that I don't like, just due to the fact that a lot of people say it's a man's job and women should not get involved.
Mhm.
But my class only has, I want to say, maybe 10 boys out of 30 of us.
Okay.
So it's definitely changing and how it's happening. So women are moving into the profession, which is nice, but there is still a lot of sexism out there,
Okay.
which I don't appreciate. But um I otherwise the program's pretty well. It's very, very hard to maintain a B in every single class, especially during times like this
Do you fail
when
the course if you don't get a B?
yes,
Oh, okay.
if you don't get a B, which is an 80, you fail the course and you have to retake it. Now, say you're in one of the later sciences, so you go from anatomy and then you move into chemistry
Mhm.
and embalming one and color and cosmetics, and then you move, say, through embalming two and restorative art. Then, if you say you were to fail embalming two or restorative art or pathology, you would have to go all the way back to anatomy because if you fail one of the sciences, even if you're in your last semester, you
Mhm.
have to go all the way back and start from the beginning.
Is there like a rhyme or reason to that, or just they want you to make sure you know the information?
I'm not exactly sure what the rhyme or reason for it is, but just the sciences go together, and that's all I know.
Hmm. Okay. So now that we've talked about different things that happen in the morgue, outside of the morgue, have you had like a newfound appreciation for you know a job that really no one ever thinks about, outside of when a family member dies?
Oh,
Do you have
yeah.
appreciation
I
for it now?
I definitely have a stronger appreciation for it. Working as a CNA, it's not just as hard, but you really see the end point of people,
Hmm.
which can really break someone emotionally. But a funeral director, you are at that endpoint, so you see a whole different side of people. You don't see the side that they used to be.
Hmm.
So it's very different from the transition for me personally, because I can see the start of a deterioration and then eventually I'll be able at the end of the deterioration. So it's very different and I definitely have a new appreciation for what funeral directors do because you have to consolidate everybody and make everybody feel better and there's so much business that you have to go into and you have to work with the doctors and doctors aren't always on time and dealing with the families, such as differences in opinion on what they think should be done versus maybe the loved one. But the loved one, if they left a will or they have a power of attorney, they always get the first option.
Hmm.
So there's definitely a new appreciation because they do have to deal with a lot. And if something goes wrong, there's nobody else to blame on.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's your fault if something happens,
Hmm.
and there's very strict guidelines, deadlines. Um, lot of a lot of religions come together
Okay.
in one place. So what I mean by that is one funeral home can do a bunch of different religious services, while one only may do Catholic and one only may do Muslim services and some only may do Amish. So it's definitely a difficult job and I definitely applaud those already in the industry for how well they can handle everything.
Hmm. So after you get out of the program, you graduate, you pass your boards, can you go straight to working in whatever funeral home you want? Or do a lot of people go and make their own name for themselves as a funeral home? Or do people join other families?
Well, typically a lot of people in the industry go in because they have family members in the industry,
Hmm.
so they can just join their family's funeral homes. I know for my friend in the funeral service already, his son joined the program and went into business with his dad,
Mhm.
as well as one of his friends who did the program with him went and joined them. But a lot of people already have a background in it, so they have a little bit of leverage. But those who don't, you usually don't make a name for yourself for a long time. It's expensive, and it's expensive to own a funeral home, and all of the requirements for the morgue and everything else that you have to follow. Um, so most people don't go in right away and make a name for themselves.
Mhm.
You just kind of have to build that up over the years. But it's, yeah.
All right. So just want to thank you for joining me today. Had a really nice talk. I learned a lot that I didn't know, about this program, and I'm sure others who give it a listen probably don't even know that we have a mortuary science program on campus. Um, so yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Make sure to tune in next week. We're going to talk to somebody from the HVCC library about how you can access all the services that they offer during COVID. So thank you.
To read more about the following stories, make sure to head over to thehudsonian.org for the latest on-campus news from the Hudsonian, and make sure to listen to new episodes of the HUD every Monday.